So today I'm tackling a topic that really bothers me, and I certainly know it bothers a lot of you guys out there. And when somebody comes to see me for a skin consultation and we're discussing an array of concerns, one of the things that always comes up, no matter what the concerns are, is enlarged pores. But in order to really look at how we can prevent and tackle large pores, it's really important to understand what they are. So essentially, a pore is a circular opening that is connected to like a tube within the hair follicle, and that's connected to an oil gland, and also known as a sebaceous gland. And they're much denser, say on the forehead and within the T-zone, than they are on any other part of the body. So there's as many as, say, 10 times more oil glands on the forehead than there are on the legs, for example. So what happens at puberty, the hormones switch on the oil glands to secrete oil. It comes up through the hair follicle, out onto the opening of the pore, onto the skin. This oil is mixing with things like dead skin cells, makeup, and potentially pore blocking skincare. And this is going to create a problem because this is going to make the pores seem more enlarged and visible. So I would say with an oily skin, they tend to really struggle with enlarged pores more because they've got sort of oil happening all over the face, as opposed to somebody who is more combination skin, for example, where they get more oil in their T-zone, so therefore an enlargement of pores around those areas, and they can be more drier on the cheeks, so therefore the pores don't look as enlarged in this particular area. So how do we tackle these enlarged pores? Well, before we think about tackling them, it's important to understand why they seem more visible in the first place. And like I said, oily skin equals more traffic, more oil coming up through that tube and forcing the opening of the pore so the oil can come through, so therefore creating a widening effect in the pore. But other factors that can really significantly make the pores more visible is elastin. And if you think of this tube like a floppy tube with a sort of a funnel at the end, then as we age and we lose collagen, but in particular elastin, the lack of elastin will sort of allow the opening and the pore therefore to sort of flop open, which is why sunscreen is really important. How your sunscreen behaviour is so important if big pores are a problem. Other factors that can make your pores seem more visible is if you're a picker and a fiddler, particularly if you've got blemishes, and if you start getting too involved in those areas and damaging by doing it incorrectly, then again you can really distort the pore really, so that's going to be a problem for you. So how do we go about preventing it? Well, make sure your basics are doing no harm. So when somebody is struggling with enlarged pores and they tell me the list of ingredients, I'm looking for potentially ingredients that are going to block the pores. So alarm bells will go off when I hear the words coconut oil, olive oil, myristate, isopropane. These will all block the pores and not ideal. So you're looking for products that say non-comedogenic, which basically means they are less likely to block your pore. Also pay close attention to the formulations or the products that you're leaving onto the skin, and sunscreen too, because they can have a tendency to block the pores. I find mineral sunscreens are less comedogenic, so opt for that. So another thing to think about when it comes to prevention is reducing the force of the environment or something that is going to damage your skin's elastin. Now, when it comes to collagen, we know it's the skin scaffold and it gives us that robust sort of structure within the skin. And think of elastin like the skin's lycra, it gives it its ping back. And so with collagen, yes, when we age, the collagen production slows down, but it still keeps ticking over. Whereas elastin, on the other hand, we stop producing elastin once we reach puberty. So we've really got to look after hanging on to it. The recipe for protecting your elastin is, yes, you've guessed it, sunscreen. So you've got to really hang on to that elastin and using a broad spectrum SPF daily. So even in the winter months. So in the winter months, yes, we are not going to get any of that, well, little of that UVB, so that's the rays that burns the skin. But actually all year round we have UVA, which ages the skin. This damage goes down deep into the layers and it will damage the collagen and elastin. So while you think of saggy skin sort of happening in this area, when we're sort of looking at the structure of our skin and we sort of outline, say, yes, I know, I feel like I'm aging, my skin is sagging here. Also think of, you know, the sagging in terms of the pores. We want to keep them pretty snappy and perky too. Other things you can think about is your active ingredients that you use in your skincare. So you're looking at vitamin A, like a retinoid, a vitamin C, of course, as an antioxidant, and vitamin B3, which is niacinamide. And these are, you know, really important ingredients when it comes to keeping the pores healthy and in great shape, but also the rest of your skin. A final note on prevention when it comes to healthy pores is to eat a really good balanced diet, and in particular vitamins A, because we know that really has an influence on the oil glands, and also omega-3 just to help the quality of the oil that's coming onto the skin. So that's part 1 of my pore series. I hope you found it useful. Leave a comment if you like these videos, and I look forward to sharing with you next week part 2.